Hey everyone, how's it going? Delrith here, bringing you another rapid-fire style review, this time for the next Far Cry series game, New Dawn. Far Cry New Dawn was developed by Ubisoft's Montreal branch of the company, and of course published by Ubisoft as a whole. Let's start by saying that this game is obviously in the same category that you'd place Blood Dragon. It's like a standalone expansion for a previous game, and not what I would consider a full new experience on its own. Ubisoft obviously thinks this as well because it's coming out at the price of $40 and not the typical $60 you'd pay for a new Far Cry. This game also comes out just 11 months after the previous game, Far Cry 5, so you have to wonder, did they manage to pull it off in that short of a release schedule, or is it a pile of burning garbage? Well, graphically, the game kinda kicks ass. Honestly, I say it's the strongest point of the entire New Dawn experience, and I wasn't disappointed in the slightest with the visual direction they took it. When I think post-apocalyptic wasteland, the last thing to come to mind is a vivid and vibrant world with flowers and hippies inheriting the earth, but that's entirely what this is. It's as if the developers decided to see if they could adequately represent what tripping massive balls on acid is like projected onto a landscape, and they did it damn well.
But hell had followed the white horse, the one that could not walk away.
There's also kick-ass music in the game, but it's all copyrighted, so we can't show any of that. The colors and vibrant nature of New Dawn don't ever feel overwhelming or too much, and honestly I loved every moment of romping through fields of flowers and gunning down hordes of baddies. Honestly, at times it looks like a Bob Ross painting brought to life, and that's pretty dang neat. It actually seemed to give more personality to the standalone, just like Blood Dragon's own style did, and really set the bar for what it was trying to be identity-wise. Now, a lot of people are going to say that they were just trying to rip off what Rage was and what Rage 2 will be, but after playing it, I'd have to disagree. It's in a category of its own. Couple that with characters dressed to fit the theme, ridiculous costumes, scrap weapons with dorky paints like a bright pink AK-47, or even a unicorn flamethrower that shits glitter instead of flames, and you've got a kick-ass theme visually that'll keep your attention even through the less good parts of the game, which unfortunately is the story. The story is a direct continuation of the events that happened in Far Cry 5. Spoilers, by the way. After the apocalypse happened and Joseph Seed predicted the end of the world and all that. This is something like 19 years, I think, after, and you play as a character known as Captain, or Cap for short, who was part of a convoy that was heading east to help rebuild civilization, along with your leader Thomas, who is that typical strong hero rebuilder sort of guy. Of course, the convoy gets ambushed and everything explodes, which introduces you to the primary antagonists of the main game, the Highwaymen, and their two leaders, a pair of twins known as Mickey and Lou. These characters are incredibly generic and uninteresting, and honestly the weakest part of the entire story. I never really bought into them as actually bad like Voss was, for example, and at times they felt really overplayed. In fact, the entire story itself was extremely run-of-the-mill generic. Oh no, new bad guys destroying our paradise, let's fight back and kill them, yada yada yada. That's not to say there weren't any weird twists, or at least a few interesting scenes, but the overall story arc was really bland. I found myself extremely disinterested in what was happening with the plot, not caring for characters at all, and primarily just focused on running around and blowing shit up. There's also not a lot of story either. When I sat down and actually tried to plow through the story section of the game, I was able to do so in about 4 hours. I was only really ever stopped by the necessity to grind to keep pushing forward through it. That's not to say that you won't get 15 or even 20 hours of enjoyment out of the game in total, just that the main story of it is stupidly short, kinda boring, and ultimately below average, especially after the ride that was Far Cry 5. The real dialogue and the best parts of the narration, however, belong to the companion recruitment missions you'll be doing at some point. Most of them were incredibly well done and honestly made me laugh more than once, Herc's being my favorite, and I genuinely wish that there would have been more of them throughout the game.
So now, I'm a go John Wick on their asses. I'm a fucking take starting with my ride.
Unfortunately, most of them are just one-offs and you never really interact with the characters again after that, something that I miss from the previous games of the series. I wanted to do at least a handful of missions with Herc, but really only got one, and it was a major bummer. On a side note, there are 0 side quests from what I've seen that involve random NPCs in the world or side characters, like the alien abduction one from Far Cry 5. Everything revolves around the camp, and it really left a bad taste in my mouth because of that. The real fun of Far Cry was never the story anyway for me. It was the ridiculous gunplay mixed with bizarre elements, running around a countryside and blowing things the fuck up. Fortunately for New Dawn, this is all extremely enjoyable still. Most of my game time was spent driving around and running everything over through forests, blowing up wildlife with explosives, and doing ridiculous co-op antics with a friend. Oh, the bisons! Get out of my way, Buffalo! This is all still here and incredibly enjoyable, something that I was thankful for. If you're looking for that, don't worry, none of that has been hurt in any way whatsoever. They did, however, add more RPG elements to this franchise this time around. Enemies have different tier colors like white for easy, blue for moderate, purple for hard, and yellow for elite, and everything you shoot causes damage numbers to pop up. Neither of these changes really impacted gameplay for me in the slightest, and I could take it or leave it, but if you're into that sort of thing, I won't fault you for thinking it's an improvement. Weapons and vehicles also have rarity tiers, requiring you to upgrade Prosperity, your main settlement, to be able to access higher tier versions of these things, with the elite ones having special effects and features that you can't get on lower tier versions of the weapons. Upgrading the main base isn't really a grind in the slightest either, and honestly I thought it would have been a lot harder, especially given the fact that there are microtransactions for literally fucking everything in the game. Going around and getting scrap parts from random junk, which replaced money, is extremely easy to do, and I even found ways to break the system and farm massive amounts of them in almost no time at all. I had almost everything unlocked, fully upgraded, and finished within a couple hours without even pushing hard, so I feel as if a lot of people will have a similar experience. That's not a complaint, just something I didn't expect in the game with a premium store. Expeditions, something new, are basically missions outside of the valley and located in different parts of the world, like a beach aircraft carrier for example, and are an extremely easy way to get materials and are enjoyable to do. They're neat by themselves and never felt like a chore to do to get upgrades. I was honestly really shocked at how non-impactful the microtransactions are, especially given the fact that everything has a price stamp. You want a shit ton of materials? You could buy them. You want to get the elite guns at the beginning of the game? You buy those too. Want all the cosmetic outfits instead of grinding outpost captures for them? Oh, you could buy those as well. You want skill points to be stupidly overpowered without actually earning it in the game? Buy it. The only thing I bought, I had to become, they got me. It's honestly kind of ridiculous that all of it is monetized, but again, they felt like an afterthought and not like the game was built around it. I wish they weren't there to begin with, but for the first time in a game like this, I could say that it doesn't feel catered around them. They're not necessary, so optional for once? Man, that feels weird to say and not be angry. Like seriously, you don't need them to get everything in the game. It's super easy. I'm still working out my emotions and how I feel about that, but they seem pointless. I really don't understand. Overall, though, the entire experience of Far Cry New Dawn felt really short. Outside of the mindless violence and few side quests, there's really not a lot to do in this game, and if you're not enjoying it with a buddy, you're probably going to get less value for your money. It feels like half of the game Far Cry 5 was for more than half of the original price, and I can't say right now that there's great value in spending $40 on it. It just felt lacking. That isn't to say that the game is bad, it's just not amazing. It falls into the good score that Ubisoft seems to be shooting for. It's like they're not trying to win any Game of the Year awards or anything like that. Alright, I'm going back out. Oh shit! I fell too hard! Woo! I fell through the world. I didn't dislike the game, but I didn't love it. I just had fun with it. Anyway, the final score for Far Cry New Dawn is going to be a 7 out of 10. It's a good time, although rather brief. Had the microtransactions themselves made it even slightly more grindy, I would have given it a 6, but for once they're non-invasive and just sort of exist. It's still really weird. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for this rapid fire style review. If you liked it, do me a solid and hit that like button, and if you're already subscribed, ring the bell to get notifications on new videos in the future. Oh yeah, and if you like the rapid fire style reviews and would like to see when I'm doing them live on Twitch, you can head over to my Twitter at AJSADelrith and give me a follow. I'd appreciate it. Until the next video, this is Delrith, and I'll be seeing you. Oh my god! I see it, dude. Is he stuck? Yeah, his parachute's stuck. Don't shoot him. I want to observe this for scientific reasons. He's doing it! He's really doing it! No, don't kill him! Don't kill him! Don't kill him!
I just broke his helmet.
Look, he's just having a fun time. He just needs assistance, okay? Look.
I'm gonna assist him.
Look, he's just doing his thing, dude. He just wants to be Wee Man. Oh, I missed. Never mind, he died himself.
I shot him with an arrow.